Hi guys, my name is Lisa Whitehouse and I'm the artist behind Whitehouse Art. Thank you for joining me today for one of my mini tutorials. Be sure to hit subscribe if you want to see other videos like this one. Let's get started. So for today, I'm going to be walking you through how to paint a bear with watercolor. In this case, I'm going to be using the watercolor painting for a playroom. So my plan is to add Mama over top of the bear after in white once I bring it into Photoshop. But for the sake of this, you can either create your painting with watercolor, as I'm going to show you, and write Mama Bear below, or do it however you want. But my iteration is going to include the white writing through it at the end. So I will walk you through how to create the watercolor layer. So first things first, I like to use a couple of different brushes. For this piece, I'm going to be using an angled brush as well as a flat brush. And the flat brush I like to use for some of the splatters towards the end, whereas the angled brush is what I do most of the wet in wet part that you're gonna see me do right away. So I want it to be nice and bright and rainbow colored since it's going in a kid's room. And so we're gonna start out with some clear water. And we're going to be covering the whole thing with clear water. If you have a few spots that show through white, that's totally okay. I'm going to be using a mix of Prussian blue, a dark dioxide purple, an opera pink, a nice bright yellow, as well as a red. I might throw in a little bit of teal too. I like to have a varied palette, and then I kind of put in colors as I feel inspired. So if you see me move away from any of those colors, feel free to use the colors you want, but just following the overall pattern that I'm going to show you. Every space is different, so the nice part about a piece like this is you can customize it to your space with the colors that'll work well for you. So first things first, I'm going to have a little bit of blue right by the face. So I take that dark blue and I just drop it in into the water. So you have to make sure your paper is still wet at this point because it won't bleed nice if it's not still wet. So we'll do the little ears there. If you find it's drying too fast, you can always just add water as you go to make sure it doesn't dry too fast. So after that, I'm going to move to the purple. I use quite a bit of water as I'm going around just to make sure it's not drying faster than I can work with it. So I'm going to make the front paw purple. And I always like to have my transitions be kind of like a color wheel. So you're going to notice that I don't move from purple to, say, red. I'm going to move from purple to pink. And that way, I'm going to re-wet a little bit of this. And that way there's no muddying of colors. So by muddying, I mean it's not going to turn brown on me. We're going to get those nice transitions. So I'll add some pink next. Pink and purple look nice together. And so I make sure that I have all the pink running into the purple. And then after the pink, red and pink actually go together, so I can add a little bit of red. So we're going to add a little red here. And then after red, I'm going to use a little bit of yellow. So after the yellow, I'm going to pick some lime green up here. And I can tell the paper is drying faster than I can even work. And that's not a problem. Yours might do the same thing. You just kind of continue to wet it and tell the paint where to go. So I really like the way the lime green bleeds into teal. So I'm going to actually add a little bit of teal towards the back and towards this leg. So we're going to have a bit of both. So here I'm going to have teal. And then I'm going to add some more lime green on this side. And as they bleed together, some of it will actually turn a little bit green. Medium green. And then I'm going to actually revert back to the blue here that you saw at the beginning. because I like to bring my colors full circle. So this is how I would treat that. Now I'm noticing it's doing kind of something kind of funny here. It's almost a little too wet. So what I'm going to do to deal with that is I'm just going to use the corner of a paper towel and pull up a little bit of the water. And we can add that color back, but I just didn't want too much of it. So now that I've got down a good base layer, what I'm going to do is add in a few splatters here and there of my colors over top of the existing one. So with the yellow, we'll add some splatters of yellow here. And I find these large flat brushes, you have quite a bit of control. It's not that I don't want it to go outside of the bear, I just want to make sure that it goes outside of the bear when I want it to. So we're going to take a little bit of teal, put the teal over the teal, and then have it bleed up into the green a little bit. And I'm going to take a little bit of red, put some red here, a little pink. This is going to dry quite a bit lighter than you see here, so I'm going to continue to add paint as it's drying to make sure I'm getting the right darkness. So I'm going to take some of that dark purple. And for a lot of my paintings, I actually have them bleed outside of the shape, but in this case, I'm going to actually keep it centralized in the bear outline. So now I'm going to use this small liner brush. I've actually decided to define the edges here a little bit more. So some of them, I'm noticing that I just want a little more definition here. You don't have to do this. If you want it to be a little lighter around the edge, that's totally fine too. I'm going to take that dark blue and just come in at the face again. I'm noticing it's a little darker than I'd like right here. So what I can do is take a dry brush and just pick up a little bit of that color just so it doesn't dry darker than I'd like. And I'd like a little bit more yellow just to come in right here. Sometimes I make some of these decisions as it's drying because I'm noticing it's drying a little lighter than I'd like or darker. That's working the way I'd like now. So I think what we're going to do is let this dry fully and see how it looks once it's got some time to dry, because it's hard to know for sure until it's dry 100%. So I decided that while it was drying, it might be a good idea to add the words mama underneath. I think it could be really cute instead of doing it over top. I may still play around with it a little bit after and see if it works to put it in white over top for the sake of my printables store. But in this video, I'm going to also show you how to do the script down below. So what we're going to do is take clear water and right over top of those words, I can include these words in the file as well, the one that I will be linking in the description below. So we're going to follow the same pattern as you see on here. So we're going to start with purple. And then we're going to, sorry, that was blue, not purple, I misspoke. And we're going to move to the purple. And then we're going to take some nice bright pink. And move move to the red next. We don't want to have too much yellow with this because the yellow won't be as strong. So we're going to add some, but just not a lot. And then we'll have teal as the last color. A little bit of the blue right at the end. So that's it for that. Now, it's almost dry in certain areas, so I think this would actually be a good time to add some splatters over top. I know I'm jumping around a lot, but I haven't, this is the first time doing a painting somewhat like this, where I try and do it all in one layer. And add some more red right here, a little bit of pink. And then I know I said I wasn't going to do any splatters outside of it, but I think a couple might be nice. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the blue and have a couple over here. And then a little pink. And if you do too many, you can always lift some out at the end. Because I noticed that one went a little wonky, so I think I might lift that one out. With this one, I feel like less is more, so I'm actually going to lift out quite a few of them. I think I might add in a few yellow ones. All right, so now that the painting's had some time to dry, I'm noticing that it's a little bit lighter than I'd like. So that's easy enough to fix. All you have to do is add another clear coat on top and go through all the same motions as you did the first time around. So we're just gonna lightly cover the bear again. And for this layer, it's okay if you don't get it all. It's okay if there's spots showing through underneath. If you've done my paw print tutorial, you'll see I actually kind of like when there's spots that are uncovered underneath because it allows the lighter color to show through. You can see that dimension and that texture in the watercolor. So I'm being actually a little bit looser with this second coat. So we're going to start here with the blue again. We're not going to fill in everything, I'm just going to loosely do some spots. All we're doing is darkening it. A little bit of pink over here. You'll notice here, there's a brush stroke. I don't want that, so I'm going to go in with a dry brush and just sort of massage it out. I'm going to take my flat brush again, and we're going to add some splatters to spread out that yellow I just added. It's just too concentrated there. I'm going to add a little bit of blue over here. I know I'm going a little all over the place, but that's sort of how I like to do this second coat, is just sort of look at the areas where I feel like I want to go a little darker and then go ahead and add some darker color there. I always keep a paper towel beside. You'll notice I'm constantly drying off my brush, and that's just because if I have too much pigment, I like to bring up a little bit of it so that there's not too much at the end. You don't want to have spots that look almost opaque. You still want to have a little bit of the paper coming through. So I'm gonna just do a little bit up here. I think that's all I will do for the second coat. And then I'm just gonna go over the letters again, just because I noticed they're a little bit lighter than I'd like. And I'll just move through them the same way I did on the first coat, where I'm just gradually switching from color to color. Now I'm on red. The yellow is actually quite dark still, so I'll leave that. There we go. So that's all I will do. Now I'm going to let it dry up. Notice there's a little clear spot here. Now I'm going to let it dry, and once it's dry, it's all done. Thanks for joining me. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you guys had fun. Be sure to check out my other videos for more inspiration, and leave a comment below with some ideas that you want to paint. Thank you, and see you next video.